Hello, my name is Lyn Dennis. I'm a member of the Lummi Nation and the Tahltan Band of British Columbia, and also a filmmaker myself. And I'm very excited today to have Shannon Kring and also Phyllis Young, who have been extremely involved with this remarkable film that we have here. And it's called End of the Line, the Women of Standing Rock. And so please, Shannon, let us know who you are, and then we'll go on to Phyllis.
My name is Shannon Kring. I am a director producer who specializes in documentaries dealing with human rights abuses and social justice, and love what I do. And I'm so grateful to know Phyllis.
Phyllis.
Nini Tahiawi Hemachapi, Na Nini Yuha Najiwi Hemachapi. I'm woman who stands by the water and woman who loves the water. Those are my given names by my family and my people, my community, for our life struggle. My name is Phyllis Young, my American name, and my background. I was the coordinator for the Ocheti Shakoi camp, requested by the tribal council of the Standing Rock Sioux tribe. And so I am co-founder of Women of All Red Nations in 1978, have been an activist for our land, the Black Hills, water rights, and women's rights, so and children. So I was also the board member for 15 years for the National Museum of the American Indian in Washington, D.C. I served one term as the chair of that board and helped to build that incredible living museum in Washington, D.C. I served as a council member for the Standing Rock Sioux tribe and was the coordinator for the camp. And then I am a founding member of the MIT Fellowship, which is the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, which is the military, the arm of military technology. So that's pretty much my background. I live on the North Dakota side of Standing Rock. I live on the river and very much a part of the camp history that has been made.
Thank you very much, Phyllis. That's quite a background, and we in Indian country appreciate all that you've done for all of us. And Shannon, I would like to know what was your inspiration for this film as a director?
Well, I've wanted to make a film about these topics for a long time, and Standing Rock was a great opportunity to look at things like forced sterilization and the boarding school atrocities and the medical system abuses and all of these things that most Americans do not know. And I felt really compelled to go to Standing Rock when I saw the horrendous footage that was being released, largely because people were sharing on their social media. This was really a remarkable event in that it was people telling their own stories in real time. And I was living and working in Honduras at that time and was seeing all of this. And I didn't even feel like I had a choice. I felt like I absolutely must go. And part of that is because LaDonna Brave Bull Allard had issued a call as well, because normally I would question if I had a place to be there as someone who looks very white and does not come from that community. But LaDonna stressed the importance of people standing with them from all around the world. And when she put out the call, people came from everywhere.
Now, Phyllis, in terms of your involvement at Standing Rock, it sounds like you were one of the key leaders involved with that effort. What was the feeling for you being at that camp?
It was nothing that I had expected. It was more than that. And so having been an activist all of my life and was a plaintiff against Union Carbide in 1980 in the Black Hills to keep uranium mining out, and we prevailed. Plaintiff against the taking of the water and a coal slurry pipeline, the Etsy pipeline to Louisiana. In 1980, we prevailed in doing that. And we had an international survival gathering in 1980 with all of the sustainable developments that were coming along. And we also knew that we were in a national sacrifice area. So all of my life, I've been fighting the corporations, and we formed the Cowboys and Indians Alliance in the 1980s in South Dakota, the CIA of our own. So incredible partnerships at Ground Zero in South Dakota for the Black Hills. So coming home and always being vigilant, we were aware of the pipelines that were coming down from the north. And so in 1978, we formed the women's arm of the American Indian movement to fight sterilization and to fight all of the issues of our water. And so it's a continuing it's a continuing work and struggle.
Now, Shannon, I have a question for you as the director. How long have you been working on this film, and what was entailed?
So I've been with the film for more than 5 years now. And I followed the women for about 2.5 years between when I turned on the cameras and when I decided that I had to stop. You know, as you can tell by the film, by listening to Phyllis, there is so much amazing work that they're doing. And if it were up to me, I'd still be filming just because it's fascinating. And I think these things do need to be documented. And at the same time, there was a whole contingent of people, Dakota Access Pipeline, Energy Transfer Partners, first and foremost, who did not want this story to be told. And so we had issues with signals being scrambled out at Standing Rock, with our cell phones not working, all kinds of resistance. And not just that, we were probably the only crew that I've heard of that did not have footage and/or cameras seized. And really, that's just because I had come from Latin America, from filming in a place where it's typical to get your footage seized. And so going out there, I was really mindful of taking every precaution necessary. And so we would film all day into the night, sometimes well into the night, and then we would go and back everything up, so that we would have multiple copies of things. And then we would have someone drive different cars, different people, driving about an hour to go and send our footage by FedEx or UPS to our editor. And so, it took a lot to get this film made. In the beginning, especially, there was just so much resistance. Hollywood is still an old boys club, and let's face it, it's an old white boys club, and topics like this are not foremost in their thoughts. And so it took a lot to get this made. And really, we crowdfunded in the beginning, and that got us our nice seed and got us out there a number of times to film. But then we actually had to go and appeal to another country, and that was Finland. I had a good relationship with Sophia Ehrenruth and others in Finland who I thought would believe in this struggle. And they actually got the Finnish Film Foundation involved, YLE, their national broadcaster, which is highly respected throughout the world for their documentary work, who got on board. And once they got on board, that made our job a little bit easier. We were really blessed to receive some grants. And, we're still fundraising, because the reality is, no matter how good a film is, no matter how amazing the people are that are being profiled, it's going to mean nothing if it doesn't get out there. And so now our goal with it is to raise funds to have an impact campaign, because we want to see Phyllis out on the road again. Maybe Phyllis is tired after a lifetime of this, but I think she's a national treasure. And Phyllis and Pearl Daniel Means, my co-producer, who also appeared in the film, and other women of all ages who are in this, they need a platform. And so we always intended for this film to just be a convening tool, to open up a discussion, to open minds and hearts. And so I've been on it years, and yet I feel like my job in a way has just begun. And I really hope that this goes far. We're so excited that it's actually going to be airing in the US. We've already had some air dates on Fuse, and we've got additional broadcasters around the world who are slowly coming on board and, broadcasting this, because it's all about awareness. I want people to know what has happened and what is still happening to the Native people of actually the world. I was going to say of the US, yes, but it's the world. It happens everywhere. Because of my work, I work, worked in more than 70 countries now, I guess. And this happens everywhere, that there are indigenous people who care about land that has resources that big business wants.
Well, water, it's just like gold, right? Water's like gold. And I was wondering, I believe there's also a website that individuals can go to. Is that correct?
Yes, so you can go to, it's easiest just to go to endofthelinefilm.com, endofthelinefilm.com. We've also just started a nonprofit, so we can be raising funds directly through our own channels to be supporting work of the women of Standing Rock. But if you go to our film website, you're going to see some of the actions that are taking place now, and you can see where you can view and even purchase this film, because I think you need to watch it more than once. Those of you who are watching this are probably, your minds are still probably blown, and I know it's an emotional process watching this film as well. And so I would encourage people to give it another watch, and if you couldn't make it through the first time because of the emotion involved, try again, keep trying. Especially for our women, it was tough for some of them to watch it, where they just said, oh, I got to come back to this.
Well, when you say to watch the film twice, I totally agree with you, because I've watched it once and I'm planning on watching it again with my partner, and like the portion of the film where they showed the vicious dogs in there, it was just like, I don't know, it really took me aback. And then also seeing the young Native woman who was shot with rubber bullets, and she got hit in the eye and also in the leg, and that was very heartfelt.
Absolutely. There were so many amazing stories, and unfortunately so many that didn't even make it into the film. But that's another goal of mine, is to get all of those stories edited and out into the world. We could have easily made a series out of this if anyone would have been willing to purchase it, actually, broadcasters, distributors. I think there will come a time, and we're going to preserve this footage as long as necessary. It's interesting because sometimes it just takes a tremendous amount of time. There are all of these examples of films, like I can remember hearing It's a Wonderful Life, which is always on over Christmas, right? That thing sat around for, I think it was decades, because no one wanted it. No one wanted to air it. They thought it was cheesy, corny, that it wasn't going to work. And there are examples of archives, for instance. Now, if you watch the whole film and you go through to the credits, which are very long because of all of our amazing supporters who crowdfunded, you're going to hear some audio that was recorded in 1929. And this was audio that was held by a university, and that the university was just kind of going to discard it. And it found its way into our hands, and we were able to actually digitize it and to make it sound better, as it probably did more when it was being recorded live. And that audio was actually recorded on Standing Rock. The archival footage of the powwows, of the men marching, that was from Standing Rock in the 20s. So it's not like we just, pulled out this, acted footage that happened to be black and white. These are archives. And for me, for what I do, I think it's so crucial that we document people and stories while we can. And, we've got these treasures like Phyllis, though I don't think there's anyone quite like her. There are others who have been fighting the good fight for a long time. And especially when it's women, that is so often just ignored. And so, paying tribute to them through listening and getting it out there, I hope it becomes more important in the future. Maybe, 100 years from now, someone will take this footage and digitize it somehow, and that it'll live on. That could, be the most wonderful thing, for me.
I have another question for you, Phyllis. What does celebrate killing of the black snake mean?
I think in my concepts of life, that black snake has a life, but the Wakia Oyate are the greatest beings, the thunder beings that no one can fight against, and that's thunder, lightning, the clouds, the wind. And so when you have survival of the fittest, and we have had to live that for 500 years, you do what you have to do. And so that was a prophecy that black snake was coming. And in our belief system, to attack our mother is ultimate sacrifice, that you protect your mother. And there's nothing like losing your mother. So Mother Earth is someone that we need. And our people, we have universal standards. We are a pluralistic society. And so having to fight that black snake that was forced out of Mother Earth, unnatural. And so we have our own beliefs, but it was a prophecy that we would have to kill that black snake. And that comes from within our cultural beliefs, and was something that we made reference to because of that. And Wakia Oyate, the wind, is female. She is the mischievous one. She abides by no one's except her own universal strength. And she represents a circle. And she's the circle in the hurricane and in climate change. And we have to adhere to her rule as mischievous and as strong and non-discriminating as the Wakia Oyate are. that's something that we have to all listen to and do something about.
Thank you. Shannon, in conclusion, would you like to share anything further about this great film that you've directed and produced?
I would actually like to defer my time to Phyllis. I thank everyone for getting this into your festival, for taking the time to welcome us, and for your support. It means a lot. You know, this has been a long struggle. Standing Rock and the film, I guess, too, and it means a lot to have people appreciate the hard work that happened in front of the cameras, especially, and also behind the cameras. So I'd like to defer to Phyllis here.
Yes, I would. I would just first of all like to thank all of the people, big and small, and from every part of the Mother Earth, who came here with their weakness and their strength and found balance, and those who struggled with us, those who went to prison, those who went to jail. There were over 850 people here that went to jail, and that faced dehumanizing conditions, having numbers written on their arms, women who were stripped down, and the men who defended them, and put on buses, taken to jail, put in cages, the dehumanizing things that they had to suffer in our name. And I thank my own people. I thank the children, the little girl who turned to me in that walk that day going into a sacred stone. I don't want to die. I said, what did you say? I don't want to die. So to me, that was a pinch at my psyche and my heart because of the suicide that was happening and the hopelessness of our people. And this movie gave credence and gave strength to our people who struggled and survived. And we owe it to that little girl to create a world that she can live in and thrive in and not run on empty like we did in our lives.
Well, thank you, Phyllis. We appreciate those words. And thank you, Shannon, as the director and producer of End of the Line, the Women of Standing Rock, and Haishka. And that means thank you in the Lummi language. And we would like to thank, on behalf of the Cascadia International Women's Film Festival Board, we would like to thank both of you for your time today, and thank you for sharing this film and your words and your great knowledge, and may we all move forward together in a good way.